What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer video. Today we're going to be looking at 5 players Manchester City could sign this summer. Before I crack on with this video though, tomorrow we will be doing daily Manchester City transfer updates throughout all of the summer transfer window, every single day, keeping you guys up to date and in the loop every single step of the way with every single transfer involving Manchester City Football Club. So if you haven't already, subscribe. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. The aim, 25,000 subscribers, now less than 1,200 subscribers away from that goal. Hopefully we can hit that in June, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget as well, social media links, they're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Leave a thumbs up if you do enjoy this video. 300 likes, that's the aim. Any help towards that would be much appreciated, and also most importantly let me know your thoughts in the comments below, as I'm always interested in what you do have to say with regards to transfers. Which players would you like Manchester City to sign this summer? Let me know in the comments below and why. So let's crack on then with this video. We're going to be looking at players. I've tried to link it up chronologically, so running in order of least likely through to most likely. That doesn't mean anything if I'm completely honest, it's just my thoughts when doing this video. So we're going to start off first with a player who's a central midfielder and plays for Monaco by the name of Aurelien Tchouameni. I've probably butchered his name, I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments below. But he's a 22-year-old central midfielder. He does play for Monaco and he's done very well in France. And for a player so young as well, there's lots of potential for him to get even better. And with him being coached by Pep Guardiola and the great facilities that Manchester City have got and all the world-class players around him, I think he would flourish. However, there is interest not just from Manchester City but lots of teams around Europe. The team at the moment looking most serious for him is Real Madrid. They're targeting him, they want him, and if that is the case and they want to up their efforts with Manchester City still umming and ahhing about who they actually want to make a move for, then I can see Manchester City missing out. And to me, like I said, City's name has been mentioned but it's not really out there. Real Madrid are thought to be the team that want him. I just wanted to speak about him because I think he is certainly an option for Manchester City, and as the summer goes on, if he's not snapped up then certainly becomes an option for Manchester City. But yeah, there is a reason why I put him at 5 on the list and not higher up, because I don't think it'll happen. Now, looking at the next player, rolling in at number 4 is Rafael Leao. I've probably butchered his name as well. I apologise. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments below once more. But this is a very interesting one, and I say this because this transfer is very doable for Manchester City should an attacker leave like Riyad Mahrez or Raheem Sterling. If that happens, then Manchester City are going to be needing an attacker, and played for AC Milan. He's had a great season for them, scoring 11, assisting 8 in 34 games. He's been linked with a move to Manchester City. He's Portuguese, soon to be 23, of a good age there that City normally look for when we're trying to sign upcoming promising players who are already performing at a top level, which he obviously already is, and definitely an option there for Manchester City. The only problem that we have with this is if players are to leave like Raheem Sterling, it's probably going to take all summer to get a transfer like that sorted. So if this was to be addressed, this probably would get addressed by Manchester City maybe much later into the transfer window. I'm talking probably August time, maybe even towards the latter stages of August as well, before that gets sorted. With players being on holiday, it can sometimes make transfers straightforward, it can sometimes complicate it because players aren't wanting to speak about their futures until they get back, and Manchester City in an ideal world would want these players available for pre-season and ready to go. So we'll see. As I always say, and I'll say this a lot during my summer transfer updates, the summer is long. Anything can happen. Now, looking at player number 3, it's realistic but also incredibly unrealistic, is Declan Rice. Now, this is more of an outsider in terms of a transfer to Manchester City, because it would take a few barriers to get over to make this transfer happen. Now, in actual thinking about this transfer, it is very similar to the Harry Kane situation last summer with Tottenham Hotspur. For Declan Rice to leave West Ham, he would have to tell West Ham that he wants to leave West Ham, and I don't think he's going to do that. And because of that, it makes the transfer very difficult. The only way a transfer for Declan Rice gets done this summer is one of two things happen. Either Declan Rice hands in a transfer request, which I don't think he'll do, or West Ham accepts a massive offer for him. And I just don't think there's any club, Manchester City included, that are willing to spend north of £100 million to sign a defensive midfielder, to sign Declan Rice. That isn't going to happen, and that's the price tag that West Ham are putting on Declan Rice. There's some that are speaking saying they want more than £100 million to sign Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice, a 23-year-old defensive midfielder, English and homegrown. He's a great player. I like him. I think he's a fantastic player. However, I don't think he's an improvement on Rodri. I think Rodri's outstanding. So that does mean Declan Rice is going to be playing second fiddle to him. I don't think he wants to do that. There is interest from Chelsea and Manchester United. Them moves would make more sense. If Declan Rice, it probably would make more sense with Chelsea, considering he already lives down in London. They're in the Champions League, unlike Manchester United, and they do have their takeover going through, so they've got the money to splash the cash to sign Declan Rice, and Chelsea are believed to be looking at homegrown players, so that ticks all the boxes there. I reckon Declan Rice could end up at Chelsea. I think he'll stay at West Ham. City's name being put out there. I'd like for us to sign him. I just don't see how we make it work and he fits in, because, like I said, he isn't better than Rodri, and Rodri's outstanding. So when we come into signing a player, you want a player that's maybe going to cover all across our midfield, and you're going to be a player that's maybe happy to be rotated a little bit more and be patient for playing time. And I think Declan Rice is at a point now in his career where he wants to be playing every single day, every single game that he can. And with Chelsea casting doubt on the future of N'Golo Kante, yeah, he goes out the window. And N'Golo Kante could be a player that Manchester City could consider. It's just not normally how City do their business when it comes to signing players. But speaking of a player that does suit Manchester City and how Manchester City like to do their transfers, leads us on to very nicely onto player number 2, Kalvin Phillips. He's a 26-year-old midfielder, Fernandinho's replacement, in my opinion. Again, he's homegrown, English, ticks them boxes for Manchester City. His fee isn't going to be anywhere near as high as Declan Rice's. I'm sure Leeds, with them staying in the Premier League, will do everything they can to keep hold of Kalvin Phillips. That means this isn't going to be a very cheap transfer. I've heard £45–50 million as a figure being pushed out there. I can see it maybe being even more than that. So the question becomes, will Manchester City pay the price? Which is why I was speaking about other midfielders for Manchester City as well that might be more in Manchester City's price range rather than paying extraordinary amounts of money. But City have done some very shrewd bits of business with Alvarez and Erling Haaland that we're in a position where if we need to spend a little bit more, we can. Not only how we do our business, so I'm not sure if City will go along them lines, but I do think Kalvin Phillips would be a very good transfer for Manchester City to get done, and it would make sense for Kalvin Phillips now to leave Leeds United this summer. The World Cup is this winter. Kalvin Phillips will be wanting to play for a team at least in Europe. He's got the opportunity here, if City come calling, to play in the Champions League, to play and win major trophies automatically. We know this for a fact. You play for a top quality team like a City, like a Liverpool, and you're an English player, you're automatically at least considered to go into the England setup. And with the World Cup coming this winter, Kalvin Phillips will want to do everything that he can to be in that England squad going to Qatar. And Jack Grealish, I think, has had this on his mind when he signed for Manchester City last summer. He sees it as the ideal position to be in for him to be on that plane to Qatar, is playing for a top quality club, playing regular Champions League football, playing in big games and trying to impress. And I think Kalvin Phillips will go in with the same mindset as well, because it does his hopes of getting into the England squad and getting into that starting 11 no harm whatsoever. And I can see him wanting that to happen, and this summer is a big summer when it comes to Kalvin Phillips. I'm not putting any disrespect onto Leeds United. I do think they're a very good team, and just you know how Gareth Southgate and England selectors think, and they'll be looking at the teams that are doing well at the top of the table, which you would think are going to be the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc. And they're going to be looking at who are their English players, who's impressing, and if Kalvin Phillips is getting minutes because only takes an injury to a Kevin De Bruyne, to a Ilkay Gundogan, to a Bernardo Silva, to a Rodri, and all of a sudden he is in the starting 11, he is starting games, and he is working for Manchester City. And the good thing with Kalvin Phillips, he can play as a holding midfielder, as our Fernandinho replacement. He can play across other parts of the midfield and help Manchester City out there, and it's a good option here for City to bring him in with it to be 15-20 minutes remaining of the game. And if Man City need to see a game out, then we've got a player that can come in, that can make the tackles happen and can turn defence into attack. So Kalvin Phillips, in my opinion, would be a very good signing if everything ticks the boxes for Manchester City. I do have my reservations about his injuries that he's had this season, but Manchester City, they've taken the risk with Erling Haaland. I can see them potentially taking a risk here with Kalvin Phillips as well, particularly if the finances do add up. And it wouldn't surprise me at all at some point this summer when I do my daily Manchester City transfer updates and I say to you guys, Manchester City have signed Kalvin Phillips. I can see that happening, so that's why he is at number 2 on my list. Now moving on to number 1, don't really need to mention him, Marc Cucurreta. It's a straightforward transfer, Spanish left back. It's a left back, that's right, a left back. Manchester City want to sign a left back this summer. You heard that correctly, and Marc Cucurreta is the player that Manchester City want. He turns 24 in July. He isn't homegrown, however, he has had a very good season with Brighton. He's Premier League proven. Fee, we're looking at around 40 to 45 million pounds. The only real problem we have with signing Cucurella is there is interest from other clubs, Chelsea being the other club that are very interested in signing him. So if Manchester City do want to sign Cucurella this summer, then Manchester City, like they did with Erling Haaland, just need to act quick, and if they can, I'm convinced we can bring Cucurella into our club and be our new potential left back, competing for a place with João Cancelo, with Alexander Zinchenko if he does stay. Yeah, there'll be the fullback options there for Manchester City, and it just solidifies everything up for a fullback that Cancelo can potentially rotate with Kyle Walker and give both them players a little bit of a rest. So to me, for 40-45 million pounds for a player that's done very well in the Premier League, one of Brighton's best players, if not the best player for them through the previous season, to me would make sense. But if City want to make it happen, need to act quick. There is interest from other clubs. How exciting. Transfer season, it's in full swing and we are good to go, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, daily Manchester City transfer updates every single day on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Social media links, they're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. I'll be retweeting sources speaking about transfers and keeping you guys up to date, so go and follow me on them. That would be much appreciated. Email in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Partner channel links, they're in the description, go and check them out. TikTok link, that's in the description, go and follow me on TikTok as well. That would be much appreciated. See if we can get some transfer content over on TikTok this summer, see what we can come up with. And also don't forget as well, leave a thumbs up if you do enjoy this video. 300 likes, that is the aim. And lastly, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which players would like Manchester City to sign this summer and why? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Daily Manchester City transfer updates throughout the whole summer transfer window. I'll keep you guys up to date first and fast on YouTube with the latest Manchester City transfer news. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you tomorrow for them daily Manchester City transfer updates. I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.